Hi everyone, it's Caitlin here. Welcome to part 2 in our series on methods of good historical practice. If you didn't watch the last video on the difference between primary and secondary sources, I highly recommend you go ahead and do that because this video is going to build on that one. Today's video we're going to talk about 5 key elements of good historical practice. But before we do that, we need to take a minute and talk about what is the difference between the past and history. We tend to use these terms interchangeably, but they are in fact different. Okay, what's the difference? Well, the past basically is everything that has ever happened to humans since the beginning of time in a chronological timeline. Okay, it's the facts. It's the who, the what, and the where. Whereas history, on the other hand, is our interpretation of those facts. It's the story that we tell ourselves about what happened. It's the why and the how. We talked in the last video about how we know what happened in the past and where we get those facts. Now, historical practice is the way that we study and analyze and organize and interpret those facts to make history. Okay, we've got that down. Now, here are 5 key elements of good historical practice. Number 1, historical literacy. Now, historical literacy is having a knowledge about the past in context, chronologically, that is having an understanding of the succession of events so you can know where to place things in a timeline. And this comes through historical education. It's not about memorizing facts and dates. That's a sure way to put you off history. I'm sure you'll agree with me there. It's about understanding the past as a whole. It's understanding the grand scheme of things. It's understanding the human element of it, which I'm going to come back to shortly. Now, I just want to put a little detour here and just talk about historical schools of thought. Okay, now when you have a group of historians, a group of scholars who interpret history in a particular way, you get, in the same way, you get a school of historical thought or a historical school of thought. And when you, and so that is why you will get different kind of interpretations of history. It is because of the historical school of thought that historian is coming from. And I also want to just point out that historiography is the way that we write history. Okay, it's the way that we write history. Okay, we got that down. So, number 2, curiosity. Real history, good historical practice is question-driven. Okay, now when I begin a history research project, I begin by listing all the questions that I can think of on the topic, focusing on the who, the what, the why, the when, and the how. Then I search for answers. Okay, dig into the sources, analyze and evaluate them. I'm going to talk about that in the next video. Don't freak out about these big words and go, what does it mean to analyze and evaluate a source? Don't worry, I'm going to get to that. And when you've accumulated your information, review it and then ask more questions. More questions will rise to the surface. But what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? Go to more sources, do more research, seek out more answers. This is how historical inquiry works. Okay, it is question driven. Good historical scholarship begins with questions. It does not begin with questions you've already answered. It does not begin with preconceived ideas. Okay, good historical scholarship is okay with questions. It's okay with being challenged. Good historians put their work out to be peer-reviewed, to be challenged, to be criticized, sometimes really harshly by other scholars. This is necessary because this is a crucial part of getting the history right and accurate, of pursuing historical truth, which I'm going to get to later on. I must not get too far ahead of myself here. It is okay with being challenged, and it's okay with not having all the answers. Okay, so number 3, this is where the human element comes in. History is about people. It is human. Ask yourself, What was it like for the people who lived this? Put yourself in their shoes. Try and imagine what it would have been like. Listen to them. Hear their stories. Consider their perspectives. This helps you to develop empathy. It helps you to develop humility. It helps you to begin to think about what is your part in the human story, in history. And you begin to see things from the perspective of the people at the time. You begin to see your place in history. We must approach the past on its own terms, in context, and not judge it unfairly by modern standards that exist long after the time of the people we are studying, and standards that they knew nothing about, okay? And that is one of my pet peeves about a lot of modern historical interpretation, but I won't go into that now. I shall spare you. Okay, so number 4 and 5, I'm going to combine just for the sake of time, and I will extrapolate on the last one in the next video, so don't worry. Now, the goal of good historical practice must always be the truth about the past as far as we can understand it. Okay, historical accuracy is key. The other day, someone on Threads brought up something that Voltaire, the French philosopher, said. Voltaire said, and he quoted, "History is a pack of lies agreed upon." I typed in, "Well, I beg to differ." And this guy replied that he had a set of facts to prove it. And I replied, "Well, how do you know that set of facts is not lies?" And I got no reply to that one. Historical truth is by nature objective. It is out there for us to discover. And lastly, we must be committed to methods of good historical practice and academic integrity always. Okay, in conclusion then, good historical practice includes understanding the past chronologically in context, being curious about the past and asking good questions, understanding the human element and imagining what it would have been like, and pursuing historical truth and academic integrity always. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, head over to our blog, subscribe, check out our Facebook, Instagram, Threads. We are all over the place. Make sure you don't miss out on any great historical content. We'll look forward to seeing you in part 3 of this series. See you soon. Bye.